Hey guys, welcome back to our book club vlog.
Today we're going to be continuing on with chapters 7, 8, and 9.
Of Predictably Irrational.
Yep, of Predictably Irrational. So, here we go.
Chapter 7, The High Price of Ownership.
So we thought that the best way to demonstrate the principles in this chapter is just a bunch of examples. It's the best way to understand it. So the high price of ownership is basically saying that when you possess something, you think it's worth more than you think it was worth when you didn't own it. So, do you want to start with your example, actually?
Yeah, so basically when someone buys a house, maybe the more assets and things that they put into that house, the more ownership they're going to feel, just because it's going to make them feel like it's their home, and I don't know.
Yeah, more ownership of it. It's like it's part of them versus just a house down the street. I thought the same thing about the old guys that work on their cars all the time, their beat up cars that sit in their garage for a long time. They'd rather work on them and try and get them to run and really put all their time and money into that rather than buying a new car that will run immediately like a new car, because they feel not proud, in that car, and they feel like it's more valuable than buying a new one. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Chapter 7.
Chapter 7. Chapter 8, Keeping Doors Open. So this chapter is all about basically opportunity cost, or how much you're going to get from keeping all your options open versus focusing in on one specific route. So in the book, they gave the example of the video games where they started out with 3 different doors that people could choose from, and they left them all open so you could go whenever. So people would click on the first one and see how much profit they could make from there. Second one, same thing, and same with the third. And they all went back to the one that they would become most profitable in. But when they changed up the game, so it was more doors, and then if you didn't click on them in a certain amount of clicks, the door would disappear. People wouldn't focus on how much profitability they could make or how profitable they could be. They focused in on making sure all their options stayed open. So rather than focusing on any of the doors that could have been more profitable than clicking on all of them, they made sure that they had the right amount of clicks to keep all of the doors open the whole time, which is crazy to me to think that people in general will want to keep their options open, and it clouds their judgment so much that they just don't see the right path right in front of them.
So going off of Kate, another example that I was thinking of is maybe when a family goes to a car dealership to look at cars and they're interested in buying an SUV, so maybe a Honda Pilot or a Toyota 4Runner, and they may be super the same attractiveness, but have those small differences, but it'll cloud their judgment on making the decision of which one to purchase. So
I know which one I would purchase.
Yeah, I know.
The 4Runner, for sure. Alright, and that's chapter 8.
Chapter 9, The Effect of Expectations.
So, this entire chapter is about how predispositions towards things can cloud your judgments. So, for example, it would be predispositions about products that you need versus products that you want, brand names and the causes they're attached to, or even relationships, business relationships. So I've always thought, for example, homeschoolers were their stereotype is to be socially awkward and not really know what's going on.
Okay.
But that's not true. Laura's homeschooled, and obviously she's turned out perfect. That's fine. One time I had a friend in high school tell me that homeschool prom is a group of 10 people that meet in someone's basement and put on music with balloons.
Okay, that's not true. That's not true.
So there you go. Exactly. The predisposition that I had of homeschoolers because of this girl in high school is completely wrong. And so Laura and I are friends now because she's not a socially awkward homeschooler.
Anyway, moving on. So in high school, I played soccer for my public school, and many times that we were told that the team we were going to play weren't very good, so then we would have that mindset going into the game that we're just gonna go out there, we don't need to play super great, we're going to be fine, like we're going to beat them, no big deal. And then like by the end of it, it's like, oh, we get taken out of the game and our coaches are yelling at us, basically telling us that like we need to step up our game because as like the scoreboard, like we're losing, and so we went out there with that mindset that we were going to win, and then we end up getting behind, and it's just, you know, our expectation was that we would be fine and beat them, no big deal.
The effects of cloud judgment and expectations.
Chapter 9. Chapter 10, the power of Christ.
All right, as you guys can tell, we're a little different than the previous chapters because we did those before spring break. We didn't realize that we also had to do this chapter, so we're coming back to you after spring break. Shorter hair, different apparel, same us. All right, here we go. So the main point of this chapter is the placebo effect, which is basically just the power of suggestion. And he talks about in this chapter the two main mechanisms of it. One is belief and the other is conditioning. So for example, at the beginning of the chapter, he was talking about how he was doing a medical procedure. It was a doctor on, I think, 50 patients. 25 of them had the procedure actually done and the other 25 had nothing done. They just pretended to do the procedure, but all of them across the board felt the same results, which is better. They felt better after, and then after 3 months they felt the same symptoms come back, whether or not they had the surgery or not. So the 25 that didn't actually have the surgery were part of the placebo effect. For the one mechanism, the first one, belief, they believed that what the doctor was saying about the procedure and about him reassuring them that everything was going to be okay and his positivity about it, they believed that they were going to be better coming out of the surgery. So whether or not they knew anything happened to them, just the after effect when they came out of the anesthesia, they believed that they were better. And the second one, the second mechanism, conditioning, is when they are conditioned to feel the same way over and over. So once they've been feeling so terrible and they finally feel something different, that is supporting the placebo effect that something has changed. Whether or not it's for the better or worse is in their head in this case.
So the power of Christ, so maybe like when you go into a fancy restaurant, say table 128, could it be another thing? I'm not sure. But when you walk in there, you're going to expect the food to be really, really good, which you should because it's a fancy and nice restaurant. First, like when you go to maybe a truck stop, obviously you're going to walk in there, it's dirty, it's kind of grungy, you're going to expect the food to be a lot cheaper because of just like your expectation and what like the outside looks like and what you've heard. Chapter 10, Power of Christ.
All right, Laura. Welcome back.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, hey guys. Welcome to the show. This is not a show. Hi. We're both like gonna start. Okay.
So,
Chapter 10, the power of Christ.